Hi, I'm Tanya and I'm the founder of freerangecottage.com, the blog, but I also started this YouTube channel just because I like to share my home decor finds, whether thrifted, antiquing, or even retail, and show how I put them together here in our cottage style, sort of modern cottage style home. And if you want to look for me on Instagram, it's the same name, Free Range Cottage, or on Pinterest. And we also have an Etsy store where we share some of our unique finds with you for sale. So anyway, today we are going to take you with us shopping for thrift finds and also for antiquing in some flea markets, and just having fun and enjoying looking for unique finds for our home and a couple for. Here we go. Our first stop is an estate sale that we found. I believe it was on a Friday afternoon, so things were still full price. So I thought we would pop in and see what there was. There was some, actually quite a few furniture pieces left, and some home decor, but not anything I was quite looking for. This was a cute little cabinet. If there had been two of them, they would have been great for nightstands, which I'm kind of on the lookout for right now. But I don't have anywhere that I need a single cabinet. There was another cute cabinet in the other bedroom, and they had a lot of quilting supplies and fabric, but it was pretty picked over by the time we got there. And so you can see it was still the full price on a lot of the furniture. They had some nice solid oak pieces, but just not exactly anything I was looking for. They had a lot of handmade quilts, I believe, by the owner or former owner of the house. A lot were hand-pieced, hand-quilted, very nicely done. I liked the colors on this one. And I'm showing you the price on that one, and that was probably one of the higher priced ones. Just various linens and textiles over here. And this was out in the living room. There wasn't much out there. Again, another looked like solid oak piece. That finish is not something probably I would keep, but it would be a nice one to sand down and bleach or paint or just change the stain on. And a little milk glass vase with hand painting on it I thought was cute. I thought it looked very cottage core. For those of you that are going for that granny chic. It used to be called granny chic. Now it's kind of changed to cottage core. I just stick with cottage. Cottage has been my style for many, many years. This was a cute lamp. These looked like a solid wood piece again. Coffee table. I would imagine those sold the very next day. Next, we went to a church rummage sale, which was a lot of fun, just to see the variety. I love rummage sales because people donate, so you get a real variety. And of course, I'm into the books right away, always looking at the published dates, and they did have some from the 50s. I think both of those that I looked at were 1957 or thereabouts. They had copper cookie cutters, but they were just squares. That mushroom was cute. Maybe I should have gotten that, but none of the shapes were anything that I really wanted. But there were definitely some vintage pieces and some older books, and even, I think they even had some antique books there. So it wasn't a really huge sale, but it was fun to kind of pick through and see what they had. And it was a beautiful day, so why not? This is another estate sale on a different day that was close to our house. And again, it was not half off day, or I probably would have grabbed those lanterns. I really liked them, and they were a really nice size. But I didn't go back the next day to try to get them. This was a really neat house that they were going to turn into an Airbnb. It had a lake view in some areas, and a lot of improvements on the house had been made that were really neat, that were sort of modern farmhouse looking. It's always fun to kind of see the houses that the estate sales are in also. Then on another day, my son and I went to the Goodwill, what everybody nicknames the bins, but you can see it's called outlet store there. So if you're looking for one in your area, you would look for a Goodwill outlet store. And yes, they just throw things out in bins. If you've never been there, they wheel them out from the back, and you have to just really pick through what there is. They do separate the sort of bedding or textiles, but then there's home decor thrown in with baby dolls and all kinds of stuff that you kind of have to dig through. And they do have furniture also, which I always like to check out. Sometimes the prices are not so great, but most of the time the prices are really reasonable, but it's definitely furniture that needs some love. I thought both of those tables had such great potential. And actually, when I was checking out that round one, someone had grabbed that and was taking it home. So I was glad to see it was probably going to get a makeover. Then I went to a couple of thrift stores that I had never been to. I was really determined to find a couple, and they were right here in my town, and I had never been to these. So that was fun to kind of explore and see what else was out there. I think sometimes we can get to where we only, keep going back to the same ones over and over. They had a lot of decor. They had a lot of clothing. It wasn't huge. It wasn't a huge thrift store. It was sort of, I think it was like 3 different rooms. But there was a lot there. I didn't find a whole lot to take home with me. But I would say it was definitely worth checking back because their prices were good. And this piece here was just gorgeous, either for a makeover or as is. What a great piece if you needed a TV stand or a buffet or a dresser, and it was $100. Then here was another one that was set up really cute. I was surprised. And it's got a little coffee shop in the side also that they're running in there also. And it's a charity shop. I think it's for the local women's shelters, if I'm not mistaken, or something similar. So I will definitely go back to this one. I didn't buy anything on this day, but it will definitely make the rounds next time. You can see they put some effort into their displays. And to the left there was the little coffee area, which I didn't really explore too much. There was someone sitting in there, and it looked really cute, but I didn't look into it too much. So there was a lot of clothing in the middle there, but around the edges, there's a pretty good amount of home decor. I don't think there was any furniture in here, but not to say that there never would be. So that's the thing. You've got to kind of check it out. It's hit or miss. And if you keep going thrifting and don't find anything, you can get to the point where you say, forget it. But then you go out and find something amazing, and it just hooks you right back in. You think you're done with thrifting, and then you get something like Restoration Hardware couches for $35, and then you're hooked back in, right? This was a great little baby scale. Now, if it had been a kitchen scale, I definitely would have taken that because I'm kind of on the hunt for one of those also. A lot of paperback books. And I think there were even VHS tapes or what have you over there. Who knows? Never know what you're gonna find. These are some little watercolors that were pretty. The frames are a bit dated, but those can be changed out. And then there was a whole box of Fiesta ware that was $1 each piece. But I don't think it was vintage. I think it was the newer stuff. Then over to the flea market, somewhere in time. This is where I used to have my booth. And you can see before you even go in, there's so much good junk outside. A lot of it's outdoor or iron or salvage pieces. But I always see great stuff before I even get in the door. So let's get in here and see what we can find. I always get inspired in places like this where very creative people usually own these booths in these great flea market, sort of farmhouse cottage style flea markets. So I always like to get inspired by their displays, by what they've found. Even if I don't buy anything, it's worth going in. I love old bird cages. I don't know why. I don't have any, but I always like them. This is such a nice booth with really vintage pieces. And these books were great. It was a set of 2. I think it says 1899 is the year they're from. But what I liked about them is they're so large and they're full of these prints that would definitely be frameable. And they were at least 11 by 14. They might have even been 12 by 20. They were really large. And I think it was $75 for both books. So if you were going to do a gallery wall, that would be well worth it. All you got to do is find some great frames. There's a lot of fun pieces here. And a beautiful shoe rack with some great chippy paint. I'm always looking for handmade pottery. I almost got these mugs, but we really don't have room for more. But you can see some of the booths have just a lot of vintage, like everything in them is vintage. And they really don't have in this flea market here. There are a lot of flea markets around that mix old with new, which I don't mind at all. It's sort of like a little shop, like a little cottage shop. But this flea market here, they don't do really new items. So if you're going in, you're definitely looking for something vintage or antique to add a little character. These thermoses were so pretty. And I really liked the blue ones. Those were unusual. I don't remember seeing them in blue before. There's so much to see that if you're not looking for something specific, you're just kind of looking for what's going to strike your fancy, that you really have to kind of slow down and take it all in, because you just will miss things. And this was a very cute booth. Had almost that 1970s study kind of feel to it on that one side. And this green trunk had a great color on it. Really good for a coffee table, side table, end of a bed. It'd be really cute. Of course, the bamboo and the brass and wicker is really popular right now, especially with sort of boho, earthy kind of decor. I really liked this cabinet with the marble top. But you can see the price was about double. Now the ones in the estate sale did not have that great marble top. This was supposed to be a pair of wall sconces and I really loved them, but I only saw one. Cute little girl bust. That would be cute on a shelf or somewhere. And again, the brass, the tarnished brass. Very pretty if you're looking for something unique. And this is a factory cart just full of all kinds of good stuff. Another factory shoe cart. And this is my friend Melanie's paint booth. It's toward the back of the flea market with all these yummy colors in here. And she's got transfers. And there are even some new colors out for Fusion Mineral. paints, which I really love that paint. And that was a new color that I'm sure I will need to use on something. She's got quite a few new colors in there. And she's got some great vintage pieces, and she's got these beautiful baskets that are handmade. Gorgeous wall baskets. And she's even got Miss Mustard Seeds milk paint, but I think it looks like she's clearing that out. So get it while you can. And she sells all of this stuff online also, and I will put a link to her YouTube channel and to her website. And she's got great video tutorials too. She was always, when she had her shop, I showed you guys her shop, she was always a wealth of information when I go to buy paint. If I had a question, she's experimented and played with these paints, and so she has some experience. I've painted furniture for years and years, but I haven't stuck to one line or a couple of them. I go all over the place, so I tend to not become an expert in any one paint. And sometimes you need the expert to tell you. This was such a cute sort of fall arrangement to me. That plaid just makes me think of fall football games and picnics, which we should all be enjoying the fall as much as possible. And then they had some rustic pieces here. And I loved these sap buckets. They come in handy for flowers and branches, and I don't know, maybe sap if you have some maple trees. Nice oil paintings. I'm always drawn to the oil paintings. Very pretty. Fun display for fall also. Now this is one of the owner's booths, and it is just gorgeous. Everything in it is just something I would want to take home for sure. Great furniture pieces, great decor. Love that sort of terracotta vase up there. And this bench, friends, ooh, I don't know where they found that, but it's carved and the wood is perfectly aged and patinaed. And it says it's an actual antique, and it's very sturdy. I mean, what a stunning showpiece anywhere you put it. Love the girl artwork, neutral, nicely framed. It's a great piece. This stool, the perfect wear on that stool. And the biggest one of those kind of bowls that I've seen, I think they're made from actually roots, if I'm not mistaken. Just the texture of it all. Love it. Another great trunk. Got some rattan on there. The clay beads. And I'm trying to see how much this bowl is because I just love it. Carved, hand-carved bowl. Again, hard to walk very far without something catching your eye. Okay, friends, are you ready for this haul? We found things, this has been over a couple of weeks. I haven't been out thrifting and antiquing nearly as much lately, just doing some things here at home, mostly decluttering and just trying to get organized with my life, you know, how that goes. But we did have a lot of fun recently. I went by myself a couple times, and then Rob, my husband, joined me several times, but I didn't do like a full day. I would just pop into maybe a garage sale if I saw one on the way home from running errands, or we actually found an estate sale on a Saturday, just kind of stumbled onto it. And there was one Saturday that we went to a couple of estate sales and found absolutely nothing. So they're not always great, but we did find some fun finds, and I'm going to share them with you now. I think I'm going to go ahead and start with books because why not? And some of this would just be so great for fall decor that's unique and not over the top. I don't do a lot of fall decor or much seasonal decor at all, other than sort of foraging for natural branches and flowers and greenery and stuff, and maybe a few of my favorite little decorations. But going up to the attic and unloading bins and stuff are pretty much a thing of the past for me, and I just really like it that way. I'm really more into I love cozy, but I like a little bit of a minimal look as well with just my favorite things. And all of us know it can get overwhelming with too many items, and I know there's some that want their stuff and love all of it, and that is to each his own. I love those too. I love to watch those house tours. I think they're beautiful. But the books are all 50 cents, and I found this was from 1957, and it's all about the Grand Canyon. I guess these were probably for tourists visiting the Grand Canyon or something like that, but just really neat pictures, really nostalgic. I just loved it, and it's just got such a cozy, warm, I would say fall vibe to it. So that was my first one. And then I grabbed one of these Martha Stewart, one of her old books, 50 cents. I thought it might spark some ideas for me. Her stuff is pretty classic, so I really like to look through those things. And then I found this huge horse book. Look how gorgeous that is. And it is big and has really nice pictures in it. I think I'll be keeping this, although we don't have horses now. I grew up riding horses, and I am a horse lover, and I think they're beautiful. So just for a coffee table book through the fall. Then we had stopped at an estate sale, and it was a little later in the morning, maybe even after lunch on a Saturday. And usually things are really picked over by then because it's usually half off on Saturdays. So we kind of got lucky and found a couple. Well, I think the books are all I actually found there, but I really couldn't resist. They were $2.50 a piece, and the first ones that I found, it was all vintage children's books. And let me see, or even antique. Some of them are actually antique. The Edgar Allan Poe, The Murderer in the Rue Morgue. I don't know how little the kids need to be reading that, but I don't see the date on this one. I'm pretty sure I saw a date on these. They're all seem to be early 1900s from what I saw. I found a children's reader, like a school workbook from 1914. There were 2 of them. And I was going to grab them, but they had quite a bit of pencil writing and marks in them. They had been well used, so I left those there. But this is ghost stories, detective stories, and adventure and romance, and it's called Great Short Stories. Aren't those cute? Either way, you put them on the shelf. So pretty to stack and actually even go through. It looks like there's some classics in there, and maybe even read some of those stories. And then I found this one, A Dog of Flanders. And I actually stood there and opened this one and kind of got reading the story, and Rob had to come find me and be like, what are you doing? So it kind of grabbed me here, and this one is copyright 1914. There's that one. I thought it was going to be about a dog, but the pages I flipped through and started getting into the story, it was more about, I think, a boy or a young man. I was thinking about getting it and trying to read it with my almost 6-year-old grandson, but I don't know if it's going to be about a dog at all. And then I found 2 copies of Ivanhoe. And I just thought, even the books themselves, I feel like they just don't publish books like this anymore. It's got all that design on the front and just would be beautiful sitting on a table with, you know, the wood beads are really popular, or some really pretty vintage string of bells around Christmas time. Wouldn't that be cute? So that one was this deep sort of forest green, which of course I love. And then I love this color also. It's just a neutral brown with sort of black in there. And again, same thing. They could be stacked together. I don't know if you'd want 2 Ivanhoe books together, but they are beautiful. So that was it on books. And then moving on to, let's do linens next. You know, always look in my linens. I actually have one thing that I can't figure out what I did with it. I must have washed it and it ended up somewhere. This one I found at a thrift store that I had never been to, and it was 50 cents for a big pillowcase, a big square European sham, and I just loved the color for fall, and it's got nice trim on it. It's got an envelope closure on the back, I believe. Let me look. Let me see. Yes, envelope closure on the back. And I have lots of pillow forms that would fit in this. And it just reminded me of a couple of different designers that I follow that just do real nature-inspired kind of designs. One of them is Lauren, I don't know if you say it Les or Lise, but I follow her on Instagram. I have one of her design books. I think it's called Down to Earth. And highly recommend. Just everything she does, I love, and I would, it's just like, oh, that's my style right there. She has a lot of neat stuff. And it just reminded me of something that you would find in her line, but yet her fabrics are not exactly in my price range, but we can try to get the look, right? And a lot of times pull it off, and nobody will know the difference. There's not gonna be anybody gonna guess that I paid 50 cents for that. Then I found, also at the bins, the rest of these I actually found at the bins. I found this lace tablecloth, and I just thought it was so, so pretty. And it's a big square, which I thought would be great on a square table, or I just happened to have bought a round dining table. But also, you could put it on a longer table as a layering piece, like you've got a different tablecloth and then just put this sort of in the middle, especially if you're like sitting food out, just kind of clustering it more towards the middle or something like that. Or even I have used these type of things as a little window curtain or something that you hang. We have a skylight in our third bedroom, and my daughter, when she was living here, would pin something like this up over the skylight just to get rid of the harsh sunlight. And I thought that looked really boho hippie and it was cute. And so that's another idea for a textile like this. I've also seen them thrown over couches, chairs. I mean, use your imagination with something like this. And I probably paid 50 cents for that. And so I'm pretty happy with the feel of that for fall. All of us want to be maybe gathering around the table a little bit more in the fall and just getting that cozy vibe going, even if it's still warm outside, which is still very warm here, but we're getting a little bit of coolness in the mornings. So kind of puts you in the mood. I am not a fall person. I am a spring and summer person. I love warm weather, flowers, green plants. But if I do these little things in the fall, it can help me to ease into it and feel a little bit more prepared and ready and have some ideas of what I'm going to do when I'm miserable about the weather. The next textile that I found was one of these Mexican blankets. I always go for these, especially when it was a really inexpensive price. It's not in perfect condition, but not like worn through anywhere. But I always get these because I really think they would make great big oversized pillows and floor pillows even. And who can't use a great stripe mixed in with your other things? And I use a lot of neutrals, so I find that the stripes add a little bit of pattern and texture and interest. I am a texture addict, so I want texture on texture on texture more than I want color, even though I get around color, like say looking at furniture paints, all the gorgeous paints all up on the shelf, and it's like a kid in a candy store. I love all the color, but then I've brought it into my house and I can't live with it too long. Now the last linen category that I found was this really pretty hand-pieced, hand-quilted quilt. You can see, and I just really loved the pattern. I loved the little gingham edging. It does have an area that needs repairing, a couple of areas. This one's smaller, and then there's a pretty large one right next to it here, so you can tell it has been used and loved, but is just so beautiful. I thought repairing that or possibly cutting it up, but I really don't like the idea of cutting this one up. I think it's so pretty. And those look, it's blue and those look pink on the screen, but they are definitely a soft red. I think it could mix possibly with pink. It's definitely a more pinky red, but it is red. Okay, so I think that's it on linens. I had a brown and white toile, huge Eurosham also, and I'm not sure what happened to it. I found it in an estate sale, and I gotta look around. I'll show that to you guys when I find it. Okay, so now we'll just go into, I've got some home decor, and I've got, of course, some kitchen, and so I'll show you those things. First thing I'll show you is we were driving around in a town, it's called Bella Vista, and it's a lot of winding roads through the woods and such if you're looking for garage sales up there. We were not finding many, and we also, when we found them, it was mostly sort of like clothes and things that we weren't looking for. But we did finally find one, and they had something that I liked. It was this vase, and it's really large. I love the shape. I love the tree etchings on it there. And I love that it looks like mercury glass. Let's see if I can get that up closer. It just has a small opening, but I thought how beautiful for fall branches. It's marked 5, but she took 3 on this. And so I thought that was a great find. And I'm going to put that one in my dining room because I love how it reflects the light. And my dining room's a little bit on the darker side without the lights on or anything. And I thought that what a great thing to have in there to kind of catch light, add a little bit of brightness in there. So we went to the rummage sale that I showed earlier, but it was also up in Bella Vista, and it was at a church, and these lovely ladies were running it, and it was all for charity. And they did have some vintage things, and I found a couple. This box right here, I don't know if this is vintage or reproduction or what it is. No markings, maker's mark on it or anything, but it's well done if it's a reproduction. And I thought it was just pretty, sort of that black and white. It says Queen Anne soap, purest and best in the world. It's probably a reproduction, but it does have what feels like a good patina on it. I love antiques, I love vintage, but I don't mind new that looks either new or they've done a good job on making it look older. Some of the stuff, no, you want to pass on, but this was $8, and I thought it'd be so pretty with either vintage books piled in it or, of course, houseplants. Fall for me means trying to figure out where my houseplants are going to go back inside. So that was one of the things I bought there. Their prices were, you know, a little higher than I would find at a garage sale, but I thought not terribly off the Richter scale, right? I got this little flower frog. That was $5. And I got this one, which I just absolutely adore. It's heavy, and I don't know how old that one is. I haven't looked into it at all. Let's see how close I can get for you to see. And I just loved the way the pins on here were a little bit different. And let me hold it up here in the white, maybe you can see. They were just a little bit shaped differently. So I did pay $10 for that one, but I think it's just beautiful. I have a couple of other ones just to display these. I think they're architectural and just gorgeous up on a shelf or on those stack of vintage books or something, or to actually even use them for your flower arrangements. And speaking of houseplants, I need more houseplants, like another hole in the head. But at that same rummage sale, I got this for $3. This succulent, which is hilarious because Rob thought it was artificial. And I put it out in the sun when we got home, and he was like, why are you putting that fake plant in the sun? But for $3 and with a nice clay pot, I thought it was worth it. And then I got a big spider plant, which I don't love the pot. The pot needs to be changed, but that was also $3. And I've been looking at spider plants for quite some time, and they used to be so cheap. It was just, they were everywhere and cheap, and now they're kind of trendy, so they've gotten expensive. So, and this one has lots of babies. See all the babies? They're really good for cleaning the air, so I went ahead and grabbed that one. And then at a garage sale, I just got this little mini clipboard for 50 cents, which I thought would be really cute with just a little piece of artwork or something for the fall, just leaning somewhere. I like to use those for that kind of thing. And this one was smaller, or a photo. I have a lot of vintage photos of my parents and stuff that I've just been thinking I need to get a few of those out and kind of have them around where I can look at them. And we had found at a garage sale, oh, I was so excited to find these. Here's the first one. And these are, it says on the back, they are Japanese paint on rice paper. And can you imagine what year these were from? 1950. And I could tell they were probably vintage when I first saw them. And I thought the colors in them were just so soft and subtle and beautiful. Of course, the trees and the black and white right there grabbed me. And those were $2.50 a piece. and I really even love the framing, and the matting is done so well, and it's got the name Cohen's Popular Price Picture Store in Washington, D.C., so that's probably where they were framed. These were in a neighborhood sale. We have gone to every year. They have a neighborhood sale at this one neighborhood in our town, and I've gone through there before and not really found anything. This weekend, Rob went with me and on a Saturday, and there weren't a ton of sales in there, but what were in there, I was finding some great stuff. So those pictures were one of the things that were in there at somebody's house, and I'll show you a couple more things. These gorgeous amber glass, what would you call them, jars, vases, I don't know. They're small on top. They're so pretty. I paid $5 for this really big one, which I know I always look at these. They always grab my attention because for some reason I love glassware, I love dishes, all that stuff. So I always look at these, and they're pretty pricey in flea markets. And I paid $3 on this little bit smaller one, so you can see the sizes here. And I thought these are just great for fall, especially just pop them on a shelf or on a counter. You saw them on my counter here a minute ago probably. And I just think they're just beautiful and add that fall feel. I found these, well, I'm not gonna hold them all at once. 3, 6, there are 8 of these. I'll just show you one of them. They're a painted furniture knob, and I paid $1 for all 8 of them. And I went ahead and got them because, I don't know if it's easy for you to see, you can see they're a little bit bigger size, and they're solid wood, and if you do any furniture refinishing or have changed out any of your hardware, you know that stuff can get really pricey. So anytime I see really cute hardware or knobs or pulls, I just grab them and we leave them in the workshop, and eventually they will be used on something. Okay, you might not have gotten these. I know a certain guy that I live with said I would have never got those, but these were from the bins, so it was really, really inexpensive. And I don't know, there was some kind of appeal to me in this. Definitely, you know, gonna be amateur art, but I just the stoplight got me. I just loved it. And I thought they were just subtle and abstract enough that they would be great to just prop on a shelf or something and use as background color and put things in front of them. So they're not necessarily artwork that you put a special light on and for everybody to examine, but they're just done on whatever this, I forget the name of this board. It's just something you get at the hardware store. And somebody was probably just obviously practicing their painting, but I like it and I appreciate it, and I think they did a nice job. So there was that one. I just love that sort of bohemian starving artist kind of feel to it. There was also this one, which was very big, and just liked the colors, liked where they were going with it. Probably paid a couple bucks a piece. I mean, like I said, they do it by the pound. These were not big expenses, but I thought they would be pretty to add into the layering. Home decor a lot of times is just about experimentation, and if something tugs at you and you say, I don't know why, but I feel like I could use that or layer that in somewhere, and you should go for it, because especially if you're thrifting, that's what I have always loved about thrifting over the years. Just decor pieces, when I'm paying 50 cents up to, you know, maybe $10, $20 on some things, but there was a time I would have never spent $20. But when you're just starting out and you're not confident in your own decor abilities, or maybe you're just not sure of your style, sometimes you have to bring a couple things in and just live with it a little bit. And if it, you know, warms your heart every time you walk in the room or in the house, you want to lean in more towards what that style might be and look for more of those kind of things. or if you're just like, you know, I liked that when I saw it, but now it's driving me crazy and I want to throw it on the lawn, then you know, and that helps you to know what direction to go when you're out picking, basically, either antiquing or thrifting or what have you. And that's why I feel a little bit more confident to buy maybe a little bit more expensive antique piece or something like that, because I'm so comfortable with knowing what I love and what works for our lifestyle and what works for our family and for this house. I feel like different houses kind of lead you to different styles as well. Now this was a find that I was super excited about. I paid $3 a piece, and I don't know if they were supposed to be table legs or pillars or what, but they are solid wood. And I see a pair of possibly bedside lamps coming out of these, and I just absolutely love them. And I loved the price from that Friday sale that I went to, were these great little dishes called Ultima. And I think that is a sort of a restaurant ware. I'm not positive, I haven't looked it up, but they have the heaviness of the restaurant ware, and just that green, you guys. I just love it so much with all the different patina type wood that I use in here. And of course the white in the top, and these are, I'm sure, can go in the oven. I got 6 of them, and I just think they are so pretty, and they have like a little scallop on the edge. And then moving on to kitchen stuff, we went to a actual different garage sale on the Saturday, but they had a lot of really nice stuff too. And we ended up finding these gorgeous little, they're not buffalo cups. I thought for sure I was going to turn it over and see buffalo, but it's Ravenswood. Let's see if you can see that. They're heavy again, like the restaurant ware. Nice green stripe. I used to have some buffalo cappuccino cups, but they had the red stripe, which really only worked for me at Christmas. And I had always said, I wish they were green or black or gray. And here you go, I found green. And I have 5 here. I thought we got 6, so I don't know. These have been through the dishwasher. I don't know if somebody has used one with actual saucers, and which I absolutely love. They've got the stripe on there. And Rob was like, we can get rid of the saucers. I don't use saucers. I do. I love putting my cup on a saucer in case it spills over, or it just feels right, doesn't it? It feels a little more elegant, a little more proper, and I just love it. So we'll be keeping the saucers. A couple of random little plates in there, and those aren't even, this one's not even the same brand. This one's called Sterling, and it's got a little bit of a crack laying down it, so maybe something to put under a plant or something like that, I don't know. And then there was this one, but just a cute little plate, and I don't mind having some random different little plates to use. And we paid $7 for all of those pieces. Then at another sale, we found this copper piece. It's made in Mexico. And was that upside down? No. Anyway, it says made in Mexico on the back. It wasn't this shiny when I picked it up. It was all just kind of brown patina on it, but it had a mark on the front from a tag, and we tried to rub it off. It wasn't going to come off without taking patina off, so Rob went ahead and just cleaned the whole thing, and I think it's beautiful. I could see this with candles on it for this fall. I mostly use the battery operated candles now. There's some really realistic looking ones, and they're not sending all that weird stuff into your air. We really try to keep our air quality as good as possible. So I could see they even have the black battery operated pillar candles, which I think would be just beautiful in the fall, or just mixing this in with, you know, other dishes, just to give that pop of copper, and or on a dresser collecting perfume bottles or something. It's just really pretty, and copper I feel like is just getting more and more popular. Then I just have a couple of furniture pieces. We've been kind of shuffling around here. Actually, I've been looking for some bar stools for quite some time. They had to be counter height. I've been just stalking Facebook. I wasn't opposed to buying them brand new, but I really couldn't find any brand new with a price that I was happy with, because the ones that I want, I need 3. So it just wasn't making sense to me when I could probably just be patient and find them on Facebook. And I actually did. I just love the cottage style of these. I paid $25 a piece. I'm pretty sure they're Target or something like that. They didn't tell me where they were from. I only got 2 here now. That seems to be what fits best, but actually there's usually only 2 people sitting at the island at any one time. Imagine my surprise, I got the Serena and Lily catalog, not because I order anything from there, so I'm not sure why I got it, but I always love their furniture. But look at the stools. Very, very similar with a cottage style look, and these are $3.98 a piece, $398 a piece in the Serena and Lily catalog. They may be a heavier wood. These are fairly lightweight, and you know, there is a difference in construction and stuff a lot of times, and I definitely learned that with my Restoration Hardware couches that I thrifted. There is a difference in some of this higher end furniture. So I paid $75 for 3, and that would be $1,200 for 3, roughly. I've been adding some tax and shipping onto that. Maybe even if you were having a sale, if they were having a sale, maybe you could get down to 1,000 or 900 or 800. If you're getting something that you plan on having for maybe 10, 15, 20 years, it might be worth the investment. No judgment against anybody that's buying the higher end stuff because they want it to last. They want it to be around for a good long time. Absolutely. But I got these for $75, and as much as I like to change things, they might get a paint job. A couple years from now, they might be changed out. If we were to move within the next couple years or something, they might not be what I want anymore. So that's why I felt really comfortable getting these, and so far they've been really comfortable to sit at. I wanted something with a back, and that's why I wanted to change out those other stools, even though I like them. They're white now. I'm debating a gray to go with my wallpaper down the hallway, which is gray and white. Tell me if you would do that or leave them white in the comments. Now the next piece of furniture that I found, if you've been around a while, you may laugh, because there's this one little spot in my kitchen, a wall, that leads to our laundry room, half bathroom, and then on it, you know, to the right is our bedroom. So kind of a busy walkway, but I just haven't been able to figure out how to accessorize it, how to use it to its best use, like utilize it. When you live in a small house, you want to utilize every square inch, right? Everything has to work for you. So I needed a little extra storage for some pitchers and platters and different things that we had. I didn't exactly have a place for them. And I've tried several pieces of furniture here, and I've shown several pieces on this channel, but I think I've finally hit the jackpot, you guys. I think I've got it right. It's like Goldilocks, you know. This one's too big, this one's too small, this one's just right. So this is an antique, at least vintage. I would guess that it's antique old shoe rack, a factory shoe cart that is from the Justin Boot factory up in Missouri. And there's several flea markets around here that have them. This one was from my old flea market where I used to have my booth, and I love all their finds in there. And this was a find of one of the owners. They are great pickers. They have some of the best stuff. I've teased them that I'm gonna go stalk them when they go on their shopping trips. I paid $2.25 on this one, which was really a bargain because I had looked at other flea markets and they were in the mid to high 400s and such. This one was just the perfect size. There are several different sizes in there. There was a green chippy paint one that is outstanding, gorgeous, gorgeous. A little bit bigger than this one though. But if you wanted it for your dining room or you have a bigger kitchen than I do, oh my goodness. It's going to be for stacking pretty much white dishes, wood pieces, and it's just gonna be so great to have the overflow on there because I can style it. It's gonna make me happy when I look at it because it's vintage and pretty and a really neat way to hold these things. But also it steps away from the dishwasher and from where we'll be using all the pieces because we use them almost daily. It's a win all the way around. Plus it's the right size to keep the walkway open there. And the fact that it's open shelves, I think gives it a little more airiness and it doesn't feel so intrusive into the room. And then of course the patina wood on there is just outstanding to me. It's exactly what I wanted to really showcase those white dishes. I want to cover this too just real quick because I know a lot of you are operating on a slim to none budget for home decor, changing up things that are really bugging you or you're wanting to get different furniture. So that piece that I finished, that apothecary cabinet, which I love and is absolutely stunning and beautiful to me, once we changed out our table, it just stuck out a little bit too far in the room and I had to have my round table off center, which drives me crazy. And so I ended up selling it. And I sold it for a really good profit. And so I really got paid for my work and for our time of, you know, hauling it home and doing all those things. I'm sad to see it go. But if something's not working, I'm the first one to say, this isn't gonna work, we've gotta get what works. So I got the money with the profit to be able to buy this piece, and I even have some left over. So if I want to, you know, tweak something else around, I kind of use that for my home decor budget most of the time. A lot of times that's how I do stuff. I almost forgot to show you this great sap bucket or flower bucket that I bought. I just couldn't resist the galvanized patina on there. I just love a good galvanized piece, especially for fall decor. And I also found this amazing, unique floor lamp. I had been looking for one and I'm so happy with this one. That little ball thing there is copper. And it's just a beautiful, unique lamp. And I paid, I think, $60 for that and about $11 for the sap bucket at the flea market. So another couple of great finds. I am so happy and pleased that you joined me today. And really the reason I do these is to help you to make your home comfortable and cozy and what you want it to be, you and your family. So come back again, subscribe if you haven't, and please share the video so that we can continue to grow and share the message of you can find joy in your home even on a tiny, tiny budget. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time at Free Range Cottage.